Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, and welcome to a gaming news update video. Now, this is about an indie game, and this game seems to be getting a lot of rave attention. It seems to be getting a lot of praise because a lot of hack and slash aficionados seem to like it. I personally want to get in and talk about it, and that is Lost Soul Aside. Now, I was recommended to check out this video from a good friend of mine, Gabriel the Detective. He's really conscious, older, and observant on newer games in the hack and slash market, as well as some ones like Devil May Cry, for instance. He's a cool guy. You should check out his Twitter in the description below, and you should check out some of his reviews on YouTube, which will be in the description below as well. So getting back to the main point, I looked at this video and I went in not expecting much, having a little bit of cautious optimism because that's just me. That's just my thing when it comes to these presentations, gameplay trailers in this day and age. They seem to be very oversaturated with a lot of fanaticism that a lot of people think everything is meant to succeed, or they have a lot of overt judgmental values when you haven't played the game yet, and I hate that crap. I'm just not one of those guys, man. I reserve judgment for all games until I play them. But this one seems to be quite possibly one of the best looking third person hack and slash games that I've seen in quite some time. They seem to be a rarity on the market because, you know, the last good hack and slash game that I say I played in recent memory was indeed Metal Gear Rising on PC. So, you know, hack and slash games seems to be a last of an ancient breed because you see a lot of stuff that they used to do back in the day, especially in the PlayStation 1 era, where you had a variety of different games. You had survival horror games, you had hack and slash games in the PS2 era that really flourished during that era, and you don't see that much anymore as far as AAA game development goes. You see a lot of shooters, you see a big upsurge of first person shooters, and that seems to be all the rave these days. So seeing this trailer was a breath of fresh air, and the reason for that is because you see a lot of indie games that have a lot more variety than your typical AAA title, in my opinion. I believe the indie scene has a lot more diversity, and after seeing this trailer, it's really starting to show. It's really starting to show, and it seems like there's a lot more liberties this way, and I really enjoy that. I love that. So many ideas, so many possibilities that come out of the deal of having an indie. It's not just your average run-of-the-mill AAA kill streak frag fest that comes out. So I have to agree with something that the Seraphim 17 mentioned, and it was that the Lost Soul Aside quite possibly could blow away an entire event at E3. I'm not kidding. He's not wrong, because when you have shitty presentations like Ubisoft and EA just crammed to the brim with uninteresting sports and long, uneven presentations, then definitely this holds more of a candle to my interest than some of these games had on stage at a big show event at E3. And that's pretty sad, because I love E3, but as the years went on, I can see that the quality has dwindled each and every time. E3 has its high points and its low points. And seeing things like the Assassin's Creed movie on the E3 event, I think we better move on before we rant a little more. So we're going to talk about one of the key points, and one of the key points is talking about the presentation of Lost Soul Aside, and talking about some things that inspire the Lost Soul Aside. So it was pretty obvious when you watched this trailer for the first time, and if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you get a little bit of euphoria because the main guy looks like something straight out of a Final Fantasy shindig. So that's pretty cool. The developer of the game is also Bing Yang. He's a one-man army. He's one guy, one freaking guy working on this. And you know, we've seen this before with a lot of other media, like music, for example. You have Blue Stahli, you have Set Dweller. They're all just a one-man band. And he's been working on this game with the assets from the Unreal 4 engine for a total of 2 years now. He mentioned that Final Fantasy was one of his biggest influences in regards to how that game had a certain stylistic aspect, a certain art style that resonates with how Final Fantasy 15 coordinated itself, and how that game in particular seemed to influence this with the look of some of the characters. Now, inspiration is never a bad thing, and I got a little hint of Chaos Legion in there. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I don't know if that's just me personally. I don't know, maybe you guys do agree, maybe you don't, maybe you share some of the same opinions, but you're sort of saying, nah, you might be indifferent. But I feel like this game is mostly familiar with Chaos Legion. I played a little bit of that, and the way that the camera is centered, it looks sort of the same. It looks like they borrow some inspirations with the open world environment and how the free-flowing combat looks akin to Chaos Legion, and I really enjoy that. You can jump, you can control dragon specters, you can do ridiculous combos with that in mind. And as we dig deeper into the well, I believe that Mr. Bing Yang also said that he drew a main inspiration from Ninja Gaiden. So I believe he's referring to the games that were done by Itagaki. And everyone knows that comes with the price of high difficulty. So it's very interesting to know where all these thoughts are going, where all these conceptions are taking place, and where they're coming from, and how this could tie in with Lost Soul Aside as possibilities. The possibilities are endless, and I certainly wouldn't mind welcoming a challenge. The last key point I wanted to touch on is the game itself before we conclude. Remember, this is a one-man show, and it's a really fast game, and it shows. I'm talking lightning fast, and that's the way you're going to want it for a hack and slash. It's very raw, very vivid, very vibrant with how some of the animations work and function together. A lot of particular things I noticed. There's launchers in the game. It takes a while for you to notice this, but they're there. We have ignition, gentlemen. I saw an enemy get juggled to the moon. It's just an expression, but you can see there's juggles. You start thinking technically, what potential is there? What can I do? How can I follow up with that? And you know, what does that dragon specter particularly do? Because it follows you. It apparently can give you mobility options, but I wonder, can it follow up with the air combo? So you think of things like this, you think of this multi-purpose weapon adding a lot more variety to the game than you would think. If I had to give Mr. Bing any advice, I'd definitely tell him to look at Chaos Legion for a huge inspiration, because that game has so many controllable creatures, and I can only imagine what you could do with this Spectre on the battlefield, and I think that could open up so much potential to the game itself. In the end, Lost Soul Aside looks freaking fantastic. I implore you, if you haven't already, to follow Mr. Bing on Facebook and Twitter. Tell him I sent you, give him some constructive feedback. He's got a plan in mind, and I really like how he's saying he's not going to take any money via crowdfunding, because he knows for sure until he finishes the game, he doesn't want to accept that. And I'm going to give him props that he wants to be devoted with making this project with or without the extra aid, and I really commend him on this. So I know I'm going to tag all the stuff in the video itself. I'm going to tag him. I know that I have wishes to see more complex things, namely it just itches me to wonder if he's planning to do anything with unique weapons, because with my experience I would love to see more weapons in the game, because I think that varies up the table a lot. You see it a lot in DMC where you can switch styles on the fly, so I wonder, will Lost Soul Aside have this premise as well? Only time is going to tell, but I guess if I had a weapon that I wanted to see in the game, it would be dual katanas, because those are always pretty cool to see. I love seeing them in Ninja Gaiden. I really enjoyed it. And also anything involving elementals, that'd be pretty cool. Magic stuff, you know. The developer himself has said there's no release date, and it's up in the air at this point because he doesn't know when it's really going to come out. If I can share anything else on Lost Soul Aside, I will make an update video, and if we get a demo, you know for certain Mr. Renegade Operative over here is going to get himself some hands-on time. So, this is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to follow Mr. Bing Yang, all his information is in the description below. You can follow him on Facebook, you can follow him on Twitter, you can give him some constructive feedback. And once again, I cannot wait to see more of this game flourish, and hopefully it goes well. See you later. Take care. I'm out. Peace.